How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a good day. Today we got a pretty crazy story, actually two pretty crazy stories, but the first one is about a spoiled kid who ends up burning down his park. I know you'll enjoy it, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's just get right into it. So anyways, we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Bobby. We're going to call the next subscriber in the next story Hank because we're having a theme. If you guys can guess the theme in the comment section, then congrats to you. Anyways, right, so every single year, Bobby is 15. So for the last 2 years, I should say every single year, Bobby, hosted a talent show in the park. It was a very kind of like nonchalant, fun, have all the neighborhood kids come out with their talents with huge quotation marks around the talents because we already know what the talents are going to be. It's like, I can build Legos with the instructions, or I don't know, I can drink water while choking out a bit of a sentence at the same time. It's talents, right? And but it was fun. It was cute. Bunch of little kids. And the parents would come and there would be a prize given to the first place, and the prize would just be something pretty dinky as well. But look, when you're 13 or 14 or 15, this is your world. Like, this is all you know. So you really just didn't care. This was important. This was really important, right? So this was the third year of this going on, so it was pretty official. And there's a kid in the neighborhood who we're going to call the spoiled kid. And in every single one of spoiled kid is kind of a general term on this channel. It could be someone who flexes all their money that they didn't earn. It could be someone who's just generally very entitled. You could even have a spoiled kid who has no money, right? Or not enough, or not that much, right? But the thing is, he's just given everything he's wanted. He's given everything he's ever wanted. Okay, I said that right. I'm always jumbling my words. But yes, in this year, the spoiled kid didn't participate last year. He was in the audience. His mom was like, "You're coming to this. Like, I know you don't want to go, but you're coming to this." And he was like, "God damn it, Mom." God. Right, but eventually he did come. I don't know why I made him Cartman for a second, but it works. And, he came last year to the thing, and he realized that he wasn't winning because he wasn't participating. And he thought to himself, well, since I'm the greatest of all time, that I will win this because I deserve to, right? And so it was kind of like his, look at that 3v1. Damn, let's go, Connor. Some good gameplay for once. Oh, I spoke too soon. Anyways, though, it was this year that the spoiled kid was like, I'm going to win this, I'm going to compete, and I'm going to get first place, and I'm going to show all the kids that I am truly the best, right? So let's just jump ahead to the day before the talent show. So there was kind of like a sign-up sheet for the talent show, whatever. Tell me if you want to sign up, and you didn't have to say what your talent was going to be. However, the day before, it was almost like rehearsal, and so Bobby basically, Bobby and his parents run it, right? It wasn't just a 14, 15-year-old kid organizing a massive event with all these kids or whatever, right? It wasn't exactly that. But, his parents did a lot of the behind the scenes. But anyways, Bobby and his parents were hosting like a pre-talent show. Come test out what you're doing to make sure that it works on the big stage, right? To make sure that, you can actually do it. So if you're be like, oh, I'm really good at water skiing. And then you show up to the stage in the middle of the woods with your water skis. You won't be confused on the day of the talent show, and you'll know why you can't show off your water skiing because you're not on a boat in the middle of the ocean. But the kids show up and they check in, and the spoiled kid checks in, and Bobby is a little confused because the spoiled kid doesn't come with anything. So he's probably thinking he can just have a really good SpongeBob accent. He can tie his shoes well. I don't know, right? So he goes up and asks because, Bobby checks the person in and then kind of looks at what they're doing. And if he has any questions, he's like, oh, what are you doing? If it's not super obvious. And, Bobby goes up to the spoiled kid and is like, hey, what are you doing? And the spoiled kid's like, it's like a one-time thing. Like, once I do it, I can't do it again. So I'm not going to do it on the rehearsal. And Bobby was now pretty intrigued because that's not true. There's not a lot of talents, right, that are you do them once and then you can never do them again. That's very specific, to say the least. So Bobby's intrigued, and he's like, oh, what is it? And the spoiled kid says, I'm not going to tell you. And Bobby's like, well, I'd like to know it. you know, I'm not going to tell anyone if you're worried about like word getting out, if you want it to be a surprise. And then Bobby, or the spoiled kid's like, nope, it's not, it's a surprise. I'm sorry. And Bobby was like, okay, whatever, because Bobby didn't expect it to be something insane, which it was, but we're getting to that. And so let's just jump to the day of the talent show. So you're in the woods, not super deep in the woods, but you're in the woods. There's this like wooden stage type thing that was created by Bobby and his parents and some of the neighborhood kids, and they take it down and put it up every single year. There's a bunch of folding chairs. You were encouraged if you had a chair to bring it, but they also borrowed some folding chairs from like the school or some local something that had folding chairs, right? So, they had a whole setup. The parents came in. They were all like, sitting there. And there's a whole line of kids with their stuff, right? Their talents, whatever. And sure enough, kids would wander up on stage one by one. So you'd see people that were, I don't know, they go up on stage and they would have like one of those like dummies or whatever in their hands. They would be drinking a glass of water. They would be, choking on the water and nothing would be coming out the dummy's mouth. They would like cough up all the water and then they would ask for applause because this is a 14-year-old talent show. I don't know what you're expecting. So there was a lot of that. And the thing was like Bobby was like, okay, this person's going up. And Bobby was one of the judges. He had like 3 other older neighborhood kids. Actually, no. It wasn't older. It was past winners. I think in the very beginning, because like this was submitted to me over on Instagram at Connor Pugs. Submit it there if you want to submit your own stories. I think the first 1 or 2 competitions, that was judged by older kids, because this was kind of like just for like kids in like Bobby's age or whatever. So you'd have like 18, 19-year-olds coming in and they would be judging. But now it was like the last 2 winners and Bobby were like the 3 people writing down marks or whatever. So Bobby was like, like, oh, that's a 7. Oh, that's a 3. Oh, that's a light 8. That's really good or whatever. I don't know. And that's when it's coming around time for the spoiled kid's turn. And the spoiled kid has quite the talent. I don't even really know how it was considered a talent, but you'll see. So basically, right, the spoiled kid starts to walk on stage, and he's holding in one hand, and by the way, disclaimer, do not do any of this. Do not try and replicate this. Do not do anything like this. This is ridiculous, probably illegal, and very insane. Please do not do this. I know I have a slightly younger audience that watches me, so I just got to make it extremely clear that this is not cool. This is not chill. No one will say, oh, I guess you're chill like that after you do what is about to be done. So this disclaimer out of the way. The spoiled kid walks on stage with a bunch of fireworks. Yeah, fireworks. And like a lighter for the fireworks. So obviously, Bobby sees this, turns the other 2 contestants, and like kind of basically runs up to the stage, and he starts like waving his hands, and everyone in the audience is pretty confused, right? And he's like, dude, you can't do fireworks on here. And the spoiled kid's like, what do you mean? Like, it's my talent. Of course I can do fireworks on here. And he goes to light it, and Bobby's like, no, you can't. Like, we can't let you do that. Spoiled kid starts to get a little bit angry because he's like, well, this was my talent. How I don't have another talent to give. How am I supposed to win if this is like if this is it? Like, this is all I have. Like, how am I supposed to win if I don't have another talent to show? And, at this point, Bobby's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, you can't do the fireworks. There's always next year, right? There's always next year, I guess. But you just can't do those. And at this point, like, everyone was looking at him because people are like, oh, why is this kid still on stage? Like, what's going on? And the spoiled kid starts to get, like, all nervous or whatever. He's like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, I gotta do this because I gotta win. I gotta win this. And everyone was kind of confused, like, why is he, like, so adamant on winning this? Like, that's kind of weird. The spoiled kid's like, step back, bro. And, Bobby's like, what do you mean? He's like, just step away from the stage for a second. So Bobby does, because he's like, this kid's probably, like, I'm just going to do what he says because, like, he probably means that for my safety. But Bobby didn't put 2 and 2 together. So basically, right, Bobby steps back from the stage. The spoiled kid grabs the lighter and quickly ignites all the fireworks, right? And at this point, like, everyone in the audience starts, like, talking. You know that kind of, like, crowd murmur when something is going on? And then, like, everyone's, like, some of the people in the audience are like, wait a minute, like, whoa, 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 whoa. And, like, some of the parents are like, hey, he's got, like, a firework, like, everyone get back. And people start, like, they don't sprint out of there, but, you know, like, a very slow progressing into a faster and faster crowd dispersion. That's basically what went on here. So yeah, the fireworks lit off. Instead of shooting towards the crowd, thankfully, that would have been terrible. I mean, this wasn't great either. They shot backwards, and then this wasn't a massive forest, but it was like a little brush. They, like, hit the trees, and they lit the trees on fire. Like, there was a massive fire going on behind them. At this point, you know, Bobby, the spoiled kid, all the kids are running out of there. The parents are calling 911 to get, like, the fire department in there. It's stuff like that. You know how it is. You already know, man. Like, it's not great. So the fire department gets there. Thankfully, they're able to put out the fire, but the entire kind of, like, forest brush type area, it's burned down. It's not looking good. You already know how that is. So, you know, fire department's there, and they're just, like, trying to figure out what happened. And, you know, the parents are kind of explaining, yeah, this kid brought fireworks to the talent show, and believe it or not, fireworks in the talent show didn't go down that well, because it, you know, shot backwards and burned down, you know, the entire forest. So yeah, the kid got in a lot of trouble. I mean, the kid got in some trouble, but also it was more, okay, this kid's 15, how did he get access to fireworks, whatever, right? Turns out, you know, the spoiled kid's parents, like, had some, and they didn't, like, hide them from him properly. So it was a huge mess. I didn't get a ton of details of what exactly happened. I don't know, probably kid got some kind of punishment. Parents probably got in some trouble for having them, and then, you know, probably had to like, do something to help recuperate the damage of the that was done to the forest or whatever. But unfortunately, right, because this happened a long time ago for Bobby, unfortunately, man, he hasn't done one of these since. Like, he legitimately has not, he's 17 now, he's a little old now to do it, but, you know, when he was 16, his parents were like, nah, we really shouldn't do it with the whole thing that happened last time. So, I mean, obviously, worst thing that's happened was, like, the forest. They had to replant all these trees and stuff. However, also wasn't great for Bobby either, because, yeah, there was no more competitions after that. After the spoiled kid decided that he wanted to win so bad that he would essentially blow up the forest in a fireball, which is just wonderful. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the second story Hank. So if I had to give a title to this story, it's going to be, and, like, if I was to title this as a YouTube video to get you guys interested, because I think you're going to find this one pretty interesting, the title would be, in quotation marks, I'm pregnant, ex-girlfriend text or something like that. Yeah, so this is a very interesting one. Don't worry, it's still going to be relatively PG. I mean, it's a little bit PG-13-ish, so if that's not your thing, just be aware. I mean, pregnancy doesn't come from the storks. I'm not going to be the one who explains it to you if you don't know. Just wait for your parents. But anyways, right, I'm not going to have any weird details or anything. However, the story is still very interesting. So anyways, Hank, who we're going to call the subscriber in the story, and apologies if I said Hank for the subscriber in the last story. It's on my story sheet right now. The names are right next to each other. But we're calling the subscriber Hank. And anyways, Hank is a sophomore in college, and he goes to college kind of far away from where he lives. So whenever Hank goes back to his hometown, it's a good experience, you know. He gets to see all of his friends that he hasn't seen in forever again. He gets to, that's basically what he gets to do. And that's really nice, right? And anyways, right, you know, his friends, you know, he came back, you know, to his hometown. He's meeting up with all of his friends or whatever. They're having a good time. And one of his friends, who we're just going to call Ben, of course we're going to call him Ben, who we're just going to call him Ben. He says, hey, man, like, I'm having a lot of people over Friday night. I'd love for you to come out. It's not like you're not going to know everyone, but the majority of people that you used to know will be there. You should totally show up. So obviously, you know, Hank is like, yeah, man, of course. I'd love to go there. I'd love to see you guys, and it'd be cool to, like, you know, hang out with you guys again. And it's been a long time since I've seen everyone at once. So sure enough, you know, Hank shows up there, And he's like talking with all of his friends. It's a really good time. Even the people that he doesn't really know, they're friends with his friends. So it's like they mesh really easily, mesh really nicely. Just really good stuff like that. And another thing is like, Hank isn't like a millionaire, right? But it's kind of like known that Hank has this kind of like side business thing going. He's one of those guys who like got into drop shipping before it dried up or something like that. It's kind of known that, Hank, while not being like a billionaire, he's not on a Forbes list or anything. From his kind of like online or side businesses or whatever, I wasn't giving specific details. These are just guesses. But for some reason, they know that, he's doing pretty well and he's doing pretty well for himself. It's not like he has like a trust fund or something, but like he somehow found a way to like make a decent amount of money. So that is an important detail for you to know. And it'll play an important role in the future. Just listen, right? So anyways, Hank meets up with this girl that he never knew when he was, when he lived here, but he kind of recognized her name. It just seemed a little memorable. What Hank assumes is, she just lived in the town but just didn't go to school with him, and they just never happened to cross paths. And they hit it off really well. I mean, they hit it off. This doesn't go well, but they hit it off really well. They're talking with each other. When Hank's friends comes up to him not after the party, but after him and this girl stopped talking for like an hour or something, he's like, hey man, like I was just talking with that, that girl you're talking to. And Hank's like, yeah, dude, yeah. And he's like, I was just talking to one of her friends. She really likes you. And Hank's like, oh, okay. And, he's like, kind of gives him a wink and a nod, like, no, she really likes you, man. And he's like, oh, okay. Because Hank, was honestly just having like a good conversation with her. But, she was a pretty girl. Like, it is what it is, man. And I'm just going to leave out the next bit of detail here. If you can make assumptions, you can make assumptions. Let's just say that they expressed interest in each other and did so kind of recklessly. But anyways, if that totally went over your head, that's fine. If you understand, you understand. It is what it is, right? So Hank's is here for the summer. He doesn't have like an internship where he has to go somewhere else because he's working on his own kind of business type thing. And it's like online or whatever. So he has the ability to kind of be at home and chill with people, make his own hours or whatever. And 2 weeks later, he gets a text and it's from a random number saying, hey, is this Hank? And, Hank normally doesn't like responding to random numbers because a lot of times it's like, I don't know, scammers or spam or something. But when someone says, hey, is this, and then says your name, 9 out of 10 times, they're probably someone who just doesn't have your number and maybe got it from someone else and is just confirming that they typed it in right or they were giving correct information. So Hank says, yeah, what's up? And, the person responds, hey, this is Kate, right? This is Kate from the party or whatever. He's like, oh, hey, Kate, how's it going? And she's like, hey, we got to talk. And I've said this before. Whenever someone says, we got to talk, it's never like, hey, man, we got to talk. I just wanted to let you know that you're awesome. I really love spending... No. I mean, maybe once every trillion times. Maybe. Even that's a little hopeful. When someone says they want to talk and they don't specify that it's like totally fine, because people will say, oh, we got to talk. Oh, by the way, it's not a bad thing. That's different. But when someone just says ominously, we got to talk, ... like sad face or something, it's not great. It will never be great. And Hank was really confused on what was going on, or like what was even going to happen, right? So he is just like, yeah, what's up? He doesn't get a text back from her for like 10 minutes. So that was probably one of the most ominous 10 minutes. Hank had no idea what was coming, but he was like, yeah, no, this is not good. Like, whatever it is, it's definitely not like a great thing that's probably happened. That's just my assumption here. And that's when he gets a War and Peace length novel type text. And the text was super, 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 super long. But the very beginning of the text message says, I think I'm pregnant. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Maybe that wasn't the most serious way to address this, but this, you know, that like the SpongeBob like wham, wham sound effect. Look, and there's nothing wrong with like, in fact, you know, getting pregnant is probably it's miracle life, you know, great, but it's normally better when you want to. You know what I mean? It's normally better when you are prepared to, I should even say, you know? And Hank didn't know this girl. So Hank immediately, like, he's like, oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. But he continues to read, like, the rest of it. And it goes on to be like, hey, I know you don't know me. I know, like, this is pretty crazy. Like, this is insane. I know. Look, I understand that, like, you're busy, you're a business person, you don't even live around here, you don't even know me, like, I get it. And then she goes on to say, look, raising a child's pretty expensive. If you just kind of give me a lump sum up front, I won't bother you, like, we're chilling. And here's, right away, so Hank was, like, feeling terrified up until the point where he read, like, if you give me a lump sum up front. That is, like, the most, like, scammer way of just give me it all up front, man. I'll make you 10% back every single day, man. That just doesn't work. But, yeah, so he reads that, and he's immediately, like, suspicious, red flag, whatever. So he doesn't text her back right away. He goes to go text his friend, and he sends a screenshot. And his friend's like, holy shit, dude. And he's just like, oh, I'm not supposed to swear. It's family friendly. Sorry, guys. If you learned a new word today, tell your parents it was from the Badmouth TV and not the Connor Pugs YouTube channel. Anyways, and his friend's like, oh my God, dude, like that's insane. And sure enough, you know, he's like, okay, can you read it though? Because I mean, his friend responded within like 5 seconds, meaning he just read the tagline. His friend responds, dude, that's really weird. Like, you know what? You chill. I'm going to go, like, talk to her friends or whatever, because I got to get to, like, the bottom of this. So Hank is, like, this is, like, the most uncomfortable 3 hours of his life. He tries to go watch TV or videos or plays video games. He tries to do anything to distract himself, but it is incredibly difficult for obvious reasons. But that's when he gets a call from his friend, and he picks it up, and he's like, what's up? His friend's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. Like, I went to her friends, or who I thought were her friends. But apparently her friends they completely, like, exposed her or whatever. Like, check your phone. So Hank's like, oh, word, okay. So Hank immediately feels a lot of relief because he's like, okay, she's definitely pulling something on me. And he looks at his phone, and within, like, 5 seconds, he receives, like, 5 texts from his friend. Let's just call him Ben, right? Let's say he's the same friend as before. And it's screenshots of, like, this girl, you know, I forgot what he called her. We're just going to call her girl. The girl's friends and this girl, you know, talking with each other. And the screenshots are basically like her quote-unquote friends talking with her. And this girl is talking about how she, like, you know, she got with this, like, really rich business person and how she's going to, like, swindle him out of, like, 20 grand or something. And this is going to be the greatest heist of all time. And that her and her little girlfriends can go out on a shopping spree afterwards or whatever. Why did her girlfriends, why did they rat her out? I don't know. Maybe they just had some decency. I honestly don't know. But when Hank sees this, he's like, oh my God, like, that's insane. I never believed, like, something like this would ever happen. Like, this is genuinely crazy. Thank you so much for going out of your way to figure this out for me. Like, legit lifesaver. Thank you so much. It's basically what he said, right? And that's when, you know, Hank was like, all right, well, you know, this girl is trying to mess with me. You know, how do I mess with her back on this one? And, yeah, so basically, you know, Hank responds like, hey, he basically just wants to get a little bit more information. So he responds to her and it's like, hey. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry to put that all on you. Like, are you okay? Trying to be all, like, fake nice or whatever, when the truth is she was not great, not a great person here. So anyways, Hank is like, hey, so I just need a few more details, right? And she's like, sure, 100%, what do you need? And she was probably expecting, like, what's your bank account so I can wire transfer you some money, right? But in fact, it was like, he's like, hey, can I see the pregnancy test? And she's like, oh, I already threw it out. And he's like, that's a little weird. Like, can you take another one? She's like, it's really expensive. I can't. And he's like, well, if you actually are pregnant and we're going to go through with this, like, you'd be getting a lot of money. I don't think that'd be an issue. And she's like, you don't know how much it is to, like, raise a child, which, side note, it's a ton of money to raise a child. That's why asking for 20 grand up front makes literally no sense, because over time it's probably going to be a lot more than that. But whatever, right? So he's like, okay. He's like, and you're sure it was me and not someone else? And she's like, yes, I'm 100% sure. Like, why can't you, like, see it from my point of view? Like, I will bring you to the courts or whatever. And then she started to get really aggressive like that. And at this point, you know, she was like, and this is where Hank was like, okay, time for me to play, like, you know, the ace under my sleeve and basically just expose her. So what happens, right, is he basically just sends her the text messages, like, sure, a little bit kind of through her friends under, like, her friends probably didn't realize that she was going to be seeing her text messages sent back to her. But, you know, this girl, like, Hank sends this girl these messages, right, of just, like, basically proving that she's terrible, right, and basically proving that she was planning on faking a pregnancy to get 20 grand out of this guy, to scam him for something that, like, an actual issue, you know? And she doesn't respond for an hour. And then she responds back with this massive text paragraph, whatever. Instead of, like, denying it, because I think she realized that she was exposed enough, she's like, I'm so sorry. I really need money to do X, Y, Z. Basically a massive sob story. And you know what? Hank does something so great. He responds to the massive paragraph, basically being like, give me the money anyways, with, you know, the iMessage pool app where it's like, do you want to play, like, pool with me or whatever? He sent one of those. She obviously did not respond to that because I think she knew the gig was up. But after that point, you know, Hank went on his phone, told the story to his friend, and yeah, from that point on, he realized that, wow, it's an evil world we live in. Like, cue the future clip, right? It's an evil world we live in, man. That's all I can say. So just moral of the story is be careful out there, kids, and be smart. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it, do it.